Running this webinar, what I wanted to talk about was being proactive. And what that really means is waking up every morning and having a plan that you're going to, so that you're not waking up and going, ugh, what's going to happen today? You want to wake up and go, okay, what am I going to bring to my day? You know, it's kind of like, this is going to be a weird analogy, that entrepreneurs are almost like EMTs. We have to know everything that's going on at all times. We have to know what's happening with this part and that part, and we have to have an answer. People are tapping us on the shoulder constantly and saying, what are you doing? And even if you're a solopreneur, you're tapping yourself on the shoulder like, oh, I didn't do my Facebook post. Did I do a video? I forgot to do that. Did I do this? So it's a constant barrage of noise that's going on in our heads. And what I'm going to talk about today is having a proactive mindset. And that means that we are going to wake up each morning and have a mindset of, even if you wake up in a bad mood, you're going to wake up and go, okay, this sucks. I'm not happy with this, but I have stuff I need to do, and we're going to get to it. And I'm going to make a plan of action that my mindset is going to be something that's going to help me propel forward as opposed to pushing me forward. And I really don't want to do it. So we have a little bit more people on, so I'm just going to reset and say hi again. I'm Alex Mitchell. I'm a business coach with Alex Mitchell Consulting. And this is going to be about a 90-minute webinar, and it's completely free because I wanted to help all business owners basically make sure that you are being proactive in your business every single day. So what we're going to talk about today is having a proactive mindset. We're going to talk about proactive sales skills, proactive client success, proactive planning, and proactive profits. And I'm going to be sharing my screen in a little bit, and do know that what you see on the screen, I will be emailing it to you. So by all means, get out a pen and paper and take some notes, but do know that what you're going to see on the screen, I'm going to send to you. So what's going to happen today is you're going to start feeling some positive shifts in your thought processes. And that's my goal. I want you to kind of really just take in what I'm saying. Try not to resist, just try to absorb, and know that being proactive is what keeps a business alive. There are, you know, you've heard all the statistics that within the first year, 40% of the businesses close. And the second year, 50% of the businesses close. There are statistics that are going all over the place. And there are many times that they're not telling you why a business closes. It's going to close because they don't have enough investors, they don't have enough money, but they really never talk about the entrepreneur's role, the business owner's role in keeping the business going. And that's what I'm talking about today, what your role is as a business owner in keeping everything going. And I'm also talking to salespeople. Salespeople usually work on commission. You can't live on commission, which means your book of business is your business. So this is also a great webinar for salespeople as well. So I just want to tell a little bit about myself. So as I mentioned, I'm a business coach. I've been a business coach for about 7 years. And what sets me apart is what I do is I've been in corporate America. I worked for Fortune 500s. I was marketing director for Business Week. I worked at US News and World Report. I was marketing and sales and promotion and public relations at Chanel and so many other companies. So what I do is when I sit with my clients, I bring all of that to bear to help them. And years ago, I was meeting with a potential client, and this is a person who had just bought a business. It was, you know, okay, had an okay name, but he was just kind of like, well, you know, I have all these things I want to do. I don't know how to get started. And I was like, well, what is it that you want to do? So he had a company where he had a boat, and he's like, well, I want to have a boat. I want to have 2 boats in 5 years. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And I want to have a bigger store. Okay, that's fabulous. And I was like, well, what are you doing to make that happen? And he was just like, I really don't know where to get started. I'm just really overwhelmed. So that made me realize that what he needed to do was be proactive. And that's what we worked on. We worked on something as simple as getting a savings account. We worked on something as simple as getting a GM, somebody who had more experience that would help him get a little bit higher in what he was trying to achieve. And now 5 years later, he has a second boat. He bought another business. He is able to have savings, but most of all, he also has time to spend with his children. Because, you know, we're not just working just for money, we're working to have a certain lifestyle. So that is the kind of work that I do when I work with my clients, and it's basically trying to give them a new vision for their life. So I'm going to switch over to the screen share right now. And okay, so everybody should be able to see my screen. This is the Proactive Profit Jumpstart. So I've already gone through what you're going to learn today and what you're going to expect today. So as I said, everything that you see here, I'm going to send you. And what I want you to look at right now is what I'm calling the business status wheel. And what it is a wheel that, sorry about that. Okay. So the business status wheel is what I want you to look at and determine what it is that you're doing in your business today. Everything on this wheel is something you should be doing in your business. You should be having sales conversations. You should be doing marketing and advertising. You should be doing daily and weekly tracking. You should be doing brand messaging. And the reason why I created this wheel, and here, that way you might be able to see everything in one fell swoop, is, and the reason why I'm going to send it to you is because I want you to be able to take this wheel and on a scale of 0 to 10, write down where you are in your business. And if it's 0, it's absolutely fine. Do not feel bad about it. 0 means you have a starting point. If you're at 10, that's great, because you know what? Just keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not doing any marketing and advertising, if you're not having any sales conversations, if you are at a 4 for your daily and weekly tracking, it means that there's so many opportunities for you to get your business to where you want it to be. So when you get this wheel, I really want you to take a look at it. I want you to sit with it, and I want you to be honest. Most of all, be honest about where you are in your business, because you need to make sure that you're doing anything and everything that you can to get your business going. So the first thing I want to talk about is your proactive mindset. I'm starting each of these sections with a quote. Again, you're going to get this. And it's, our thoughts become our words become our actions, and our actions become our habits become our realities. When we are in despair, when we are in time of just feeling like there's nothing I can do, no matter what I do, nothing's going to work, you're going to create a self-actualization cycle where you're going to be absolutely right. Nothing you do is going to work. You have heard so many times talks about manifestation, that what you say and what you do attracts. So you can say and do, yeah, this is a really bad day, but I'm going to get better. Or you can say and do, oh, this is a horrible day and nothing's going to work out. A lot of this in the mindset is completely your choice. And you've experienced this. Any entrepreneur has experienced it, where they came into a day and just said, this is going to be a lousy day. And guess what? It was, because you made it that. And not to cast blame, but it's just the power of the thought that means your actions are going to support that thought. So the thing that I always think about in terms of anxiety is anticipating a negative outcome over something that hasn't yet happened. When you're sitting in anxiety and worried about tomorrow, tomorrow hasn't happened. If you're worried about next week, and if you're worried that, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten an opportunity to have this sales meeting, and when I have this sales meeting, you're worrying about something that hasn't yet happened. All of that stress is building up cortisol in your body, and that's building up an extra layer of fat, which none of us want, especially since we're sitting home right now. And what it's doing is degrading your system. What you're doing as an entrepreneur is you must do anything and everything that's going to help support you. If you notice that you're in anxiety, if you notice that you're worrying about something that hasn't yet happened, you need to be aware of that, kind of listen to your thoughts and catch yourself. So the first one on this list is be mindful. I want you to face the fear and overwhelm and the anxiety. Don't avoid it. I want you to realize those feelings in your body. It's going to feel like ants walking all over you, or your brain is just going to not be able to quiet, especially at nighttime. And realize what you are doing to yourself, because you have the power to stop it. And the easiest way to stop it is simply to change your thought. And one fabulous way to change the thought is to be in gratitude. We can be in gratitude for the easiest thing. We can be in gratitude that we have a meal today. We can be in gratitude that some of us are working from home and we're still getting a paycheck. Some of us have a home and we have roofs over our heads. Some of us have loved ones in our lives that are sitting next to us. So it's really going to be a shift in thought and being in gratitude. And that's going to help you get out of the anxiety and the moment and the constant cycle thinking of nothing's working out, nothing's going to be well. The other thing is to reframe it. I tell my clients all the time, they're not overwhelmed, they're busy. There's a big difference. Overwhelm is an emotion. Overwhelm is like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do and I just don't know what to do. And usually you're just kind of sitting in a chair and you're not moving. But if you tell yourself you're busy, well, busy is what all entrepreneurs want. We want always to be busy. Busy means we have money coming in. Busy means we have clients. Busy means our staff we're able to pay our bills. So if you switch from a mindset, I'm overwhelmed, to a mindset of I'm busy, then you're able to control it. Because what do you do when you're busy? You write a to-do list. You write down everything, you put it in categories, you do whatever you have to do, and then you can cross something off your list. Overwhelm is this, busy is rocketing through your to-do list. So think about that as, again, that's when you're talking to yourself. Don't tell yourself I'm overwhelmed. Tell yourself I'm busy. Busy is a happy item. So also physically write down your thoughts and your to-do list. First of all, don't worry, I'm not going to read every single thing on all these pages, but there are certain ones that I do want to go through because I think they're important. And the mindset piece of what we're going to talk about today is really what's going to help set you into having a proactive mindset. So going back to the physically writing things down, there's an actual connection. When you write something down, it makes a connection between your hand and your brain. Your eyes remember the image of you writing it down. But most of all, by writing it down, you're getting it out of your head. All those overwhelming thoughts. We have 50,000 thoughts every single day. And I know for most of us, especially as entrepreneurs, it feels like 49,999 of them are, what am I going to do with my business? What am I going to do? I have to get money. I have to get out. So writing things down, whether you're journaling, whether you're just writing down your to-do list, and I mean physically write it down. Don't just use a planner that's a digital planner. Don't just quickly type something into your phone. Physically write something down. It gets it out of your head. That's why you've always heard that you should have like a notepad and pen at your bedside at nighttime. It's because when you're sleeping and you pop up and go, oh my gosh, I forgot to do this, write it down. It's out of your head, go back to sleep. I also want to talk about asking for help. Asking for help means that we're being vulnerable. And that's not something a lot of us find it easy to do, especially as entrepreneurs. We always feel that we have to know everything. We have to know exactly what's going on with our businesses. We have to know exactly what's going on with our products and services and our clients and everything else. And we do get overwhelmed. And what we should do is also make sure we're surrounding ourselves with friends who understand when we're feeling like we are just so overwhelmed that we don't know what to do next. We can definitely write things down, but sometimes we need help. So I liken it to entrepreneurs are like aliens. We talk a different language that regular people don't get. We look differently because we want to go up on stages. We want people to see us. We want to be on Facebook. We want people to read our ads. We want to be noticed. We're doing this all the time. Not everybody wants to do that. And that language that we speak, you know, when you speak to an entrepreneur, they get it. They get it when you say, oh my God, I was up until 2 in the morning. Like, oh yeah, I've done that. Oh my goodness, I don't know, should I put this on my website and which page should I work on? Yeah, I've been there before too. So when you're getting that way and you're just kind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed, ask for help. Surround yourself with other entrepreneurs so that you're at least speaking the same language as the other people that you're surrounding yourself with. And the other great thing about asking for help is that it allows you to let somebody take care of you. You know, and it could just be as simple as calling up and bitching with somebody like, I can't believe this client did this to me. Can you believe that? Because you want to get that out. Because what's going to happen is going to say, yeah, I heard that too. I had a client do that to me too. And then you laugh and you feel better. So make sure you're asking for help and surrounding yourself with other entrepreneurs as well. Last thing I'm going to talk about in terms of mindset, and First of all, let me absolutely explain. We just really have 90 minutes. So I'm not going to be able to do a deep dive into every single thing. This is definitely going to help you move forward. I am going to talk to you about some other support that I can provide, but I do want to be able to at least touch on a number of things that you can take with you. So tidy up your desk. Don't look at my desk right now. I mean, this little lovely, space that you're seeing in this box looks lovely. If I just tilted my camera down, you can see that I have a whole bunch of things on my desk just because I was preparing for this webinar. But tidy up your desk and tidy up your desktop. When you have too much stuff going on around your desk and in your office and it's piled up, it does create anxiety. It creates a visceral feeling that you may not even be able to identify. But I can promise you something. Clean up your desktop, cleaning up the desktop on your computer, you will suddenly feel a lot of that anxiety go down. Also, on some of the pages, I'm going to provide some resources. I'm not going to go into every one of these resources. Here I have a couple of articles that I'm suggesting you read about limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome. And Insight Timer is something that I use for meditation. So just find the thing that's going to help you get into the right mindset. Once you get into a good proactive mindset, you can just beat the day every day. So next we're going to talk about proactive sales skills. And when we are talking about sales skills, you think about who you are talking to. You're talking to your client, you're talking to your customer, and they are your whole entire reason for being. I have the quote from Ginny Rometty, who is an executive chairman of the board at IBM. Growth and comfort do not coexist. Entrepreneurs were not made to hit a level and go, I'm done, I'm good. This is where I wanted to be, that's it. We're really more like the sprinters. We're constantly racing, and when we see the finish line, we're speeding up and crossing it, and then we're gonna say, okay, what's next? So know that as an entrepreneur, you're going to be uncomfortable. As a salesperson, you're going to be uncomfortable, but that's okay. It's okay because what you're doing is up-leveling yourself, up-leveling your business, increasing your revenue, and creating more challenges for yourself. And the challenges mean that, okay, I said I wanted to have enough money to buy a new Mercedes. Well, I just bought that new Mercedes. What's next? Entrepreneurs are all about what's next. So when you're talking about your customers or your clients, you want to think about what you're doing for them. What you're doing for them is you're identifying the emotional need that they have. Clients are coming to you full of emotion, and you can give me any kind of business. I can use McDonald's. So, the person who's going to McDonald's, the emotional component of that is a mom who's super busy and the kids are hungry and she wants something that's going to be quick, easy, and inexpensive that she can give to them so she can get them to bed. So her emotion is anxiety and I have to get them quiet. So McDonald's provides that. What you want to think about is the emotional component of your business and making sure that what you're doing is not a transaction. You want to make sure that everything that you're doing is a relatable item to your client. So when you're meeting a potential client, you're not just describing your business. Hey, I'm Alex Mitchell, I'm a business coach. You're describing how you serve them. And it's kind of what I said at the top of the discussion, that I help business owners move out of anxiety. I help business owners be proactive. You want to talk about not what you sell, but the problem that you solve. And we're going to get into the problem solution dynamic a little bit later. And you want to not talk about the cost. Oh, well, this thing is only costing $9.97. You want to talk about the pain points that you're addressing. The person who's coming to you, the potential client, the potential customer is coming to you with a pain. I used to belong to a CrossFit box, and you would think, oh, I'm just going to go for exercise. No. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to get more fit. I want to be able to run around the block without being exhausted because running is just not my thing. So there was an emotional component where I went to them, and they were smart. They didn't just say, well, this is how much this is. They talked to me about my goals and what I wanted to do. So the main thing is, as you're thinking about what you want to talk to your clients about in terms of relation, you want to also remember your role in the discussion. Your role in the discussion is, I am the best person who's going to help you with that problem. You have that unique selling benefit, that competitive advantage of why you are perfectly, absolutely ideal for your client, and you're the person who's going to solve their problem. So as you're trying to figure out your unique selling benefit, your competitive advantage, what you want to think about is, where does your product or service differ from your competitors? Again, later on, I'm going to talk about collaborating versus competition, because I don't really believe in competitors. I believe that everybody does something different. Everybody does something different. I have a business coach. I do something different from my business coach. I have friends who are business coaches. None of us do the same thing. None of us talk to the same kind of clientele. So what you want to be able to do is articulate your competitive advantage to that client. So make sure that you understand that. Find out how you're providing the product or service differently. Are you online only? Are you only meeting people in person? Are you only doing something by phone? Are you providing an extra value? Know when you're coming to that person wants you to succeed. That potential client or customer, they want you to succeed. So it's your job and your responsibility to give them all the information that you possibly can in order for them to hire you for whatever the product or service it might be. I also want to talk about your role in terms of the sales skills is when you have a goal. Are you setting goals? So many times I've done so many webinars, and I'm not talking about this one specifically, but I've talked specifically about what are your goals? As we're coming into the summer, usually around September, October, I start talking with my clients about, let's talk about the goals for next year. Many times people are asking like, well, wait, shouldn't I be waiting until maybe November or December to talk about that? No, you should be setting your goals around September, October for the following year. So many businesses don't set the goals at all. They kind of just like, okay, well, you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'll figure out where I was and I'm just going to take it month to month. And that's just not any way to run your business. You should be able to be setting your goals, if not 1 year, then maybe 2 years out. So how are you setting your goals? Are you looking at your revenue? Are you looking at your products and services? Are you looking at everything that you've done in terms of pulling in some new clients and following up with them? How are you setting the goals? How are you making sure you're achieving the goals? So the main thing about achieving your goals is making sure you're tracking. You have to track every single conversation you have, and that's what I'm calling an ask. So if you are a fitness instructor and you have a new person who comes in and they say, oh, I just want to find out about, you know, what is it you do? And you tell them, and then they walk out. Did you get their information? Did you get their phone number? Did you get their email? And then did you call them up and ask them, hey, how's it going? You and I had a conversation last week. I wanted to follow up. You want to follow up on every single thing. That's the ask. You're going to follow up on your follow-up, because the person might say, oh yeah, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm going to wait another week. Okay, that's great. When can I get back in touch with you? And you know this because people have done that to you. You know when you've been interested in something and they said, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm not really interested. And you're like, oh, okay, well, you know what, I'll talk to you later. And then that person, if they were smart, said, hey, can I call you next week? And maybe you set a date and maybe you put it off. But the way that you're going to get the business is if you continually follow up. Continually follow up until you get a no. I know so many business owners who just kind of like, well, they kind of said they weren't interested, so I didn't want to bother them. Bother them. Because the fact that they spoke to you, the fact that they asked a question meant that they were interested. Again, they want you to succeed. So make sure you're helping them succeed. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to remember this. Somebody's going to come to you, ask you a question about your business and service. If you're not following up, somebody else is. And that somebody is going to get the business. I had a situation years ago that I was in a BNI group. BNI stands for Business Networking International. and I had given this 100% qualified referral to somebody, and he didn't follow up. And I went to my friend who I made the referral to, and I'm like, oh, did John follow up? It's like, no, I haven't heard anything. So, I bought from somebody else. And when I went to John and I was like, hey, how come you didn't follow up? He was like, oh, well, I really didn't want to bother her and I wasn't sure. And I'm like, you had a qualified lead, you had a qualified referral. I don't understand why you didn't follow up. He could have gotten busy. He could have said, I don't need the business. But the thing is, you need to follow up if you're going to be successful. That's going to be like sales 101. You always have to follow up. You have to follow up on the ask. You have to follow up on the sales conversations that you have, and you have to follow up on any lead and lead sources. So what I gave him was a lead, and he didn't follow up. So I want you to just remember that. What that means is you have to write everything down. You have to keep track of everything and make sure that you're following up. That's the only way you're going to be able to succeed. So some of the resources that I have included are Tape a Call Pro, and that's going to help you. That's in your app store, any app store. And that's going to help you really understand how you're doing with your sales conversations and your follow-up. You can practice with a friend. You can practice with a good friend who's a client. You can, but the main thing is to practice and listen to your spiel. Listen to how you're coming across. If there's a lot of ums and I'm not sure, if you find that you're hesitant when it comes to answering a question about price, you want to practice that. You want to be able to fully explain your business with confidence and assuredness. Create a tracking and follow-up form. I took it out of this presentation, but I will send it to you because you want to be able to follow up easily. You want to be able to have something in a document where you're able to just check it off and say, okay, I had Mary, John, Paul, and Sue. I said I was going to follow up with them. I followed up with them. Here's the next day that I'm going to follow up with them. This is proactiveness that you need to do for yourself. Nobody's going to hand this to you. Keep going. Proactive planning. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. So the key thing with this is that, we can talk all day long about what we're thinking that we want to do, but in terms of what we are saying that we're going to do, you have to just really follow through. It's going to always be about the follow through. So with the planning, what I do is I set aside one day a week where I'm working physically on my business. I set aside, usually it's Mondays, but lately it's been Tuesdays because my schedule changed, where I'm working on my business. I don't take any phone calls from my clients. I don't plan any meetings that day. I don't plan anything other than focusing on my business. And what does that mean? It means I wake up, I come to my desk, and I'm like, okay, where am I with my goals? Because I've already set my goals last year. I already know where I'm supposed to be with my goals. I already know that my annual goal is set, which means I have a quarterly goal, which means I have a monthly goal. So I'm able to know every week where I am to my goal. So I'm tracking my revenue. I am tracking how many products I have sold. And in my case, it's services. How many have I sold? How many do I need to sell in order to get to my goal? And what am I doing to do that? What is my outreach plan? Am I doing a webinar? Am I doing a Facebook Live? Am I doing a live talk? Am I doing my newsletter? There are so many opportunities for me to reach out to my clients and customers. And these are things that you need to do. Don't take it for granted that they're going to remember who you are. And doing a quarterly newsletter means that somebody else who's also trying to sell the same product or service is doing a monthly newsletter. So quarterly versus monthly. 4 times a year you're doing a touch point, or 12 times a year you're doing a touch point. Which is the client going to remember most? So you want to do outreach. Entrepreneurs cannot be afraid of our clients. We always think, oh, we're bothering them. We're supposed to bother them. We're supposed to let them know we care about what they are and what they're doing. We're supposed to let them know, hey, listen, I know you bought XYZ service from me. I want to let you know that I think you're running out of it and it's still available, or the price is lower, or the price is changing, or here's another opportunity that's going to be on top of what I just sold you that's going to make your life even better. You want to keep in touch with your clients. If you're having a hands-off approach to your clients, they're going to feel that. They're going to experience the fact that you really may not be interested in them, that maybe it is a transactional relationship instead of a relational relationship. So you want to make sure that your clients know that you care. And then the outreach also means, what are you doing in terms of networking opportunities? Are you going out to networking groups? Are you visiting B&I groups? Are you going to Chamber of Commerce groups, whether they're virtual or whether they're in person? These things are still going on, and it's up to you to be proactive and to step into those groups. And the thing about those groups is they want to meet you. So many times as business owners, you know, we build these great products and services and we spend all this time, okay, this is the best thing and nobody else has done this. And then when it comes time to promote ourselves and talk about it, we kind of just, well, I don't want to bother anybody. Oh, let me just pull back. This is not the time to pull back. There is no time to pull back. If you're an entrepreneur, your role is to let people know who you are. Remember, it's the aliens. We're all the aliens. So, going next, I want to talk about time management, and I'm keeping an eye on the clock to make sure that I get through everything and make sure that you're able to leave today with some definite tools and information that's going to help your business the minute we are done with this webinar. So when we're talking about time management, we're also talking about task management, which means we're talking about time management. So by that, I mean, again, you're going to wake up in the morning. Let's say you have a to-do list of 10 items that you feel like you need to get done that day, but really there's only 3 that you really absolutely have to get done. So with time management, you've set your time, you've already had your calendar out, you already figured out you have this appointment and everything else, and then you know that you have a block of time to get some of these tasks done. And then that's when some of the mindset work starts coming in. I'm really tired. I don't think I have all the information. I don't want to do it. It's almost like the, ooh, squirrel, ooh, squirrel. Something else is going to distract you away from doing what you want to do. And you need help in terms of making sure that you stay on track. The easiest thing you can do is to get an app. There's an app called Pomodoro. And what Pomodoro does is, and it's actually called the Pomodoro Technique. And it's actually something where you are able to set a 25-minute timer. So for 25 minutes, you are doing absolutely nothing but whatever that task is. So for me, let's say it's writing my newsletter. I personally don't have any issues writing, but I do have issues focusing on the writing because I can think, okay, I'm going to write my newsletter. Oh, wait, what photo am I going to use? Oh, I have another section that I want to do. Oh, let me find the testimonial that I want to put in. And next thing you know, 4 hours have gone by. And I'm not promoting Pomodoro. You can just use your own timer in your phone and just set it. But I'm talking about Pomodoro just because it's already done for you. It's set up for 25-minute block and then a 5-minute break. 25-minute block and a 5-minute break. So that's where I'm talking about time management and task management. So you have your time that you know for the day, and then you know you have the task. And if you have the task of, for me, let's say it's writing my newsletter, it's not that I'm going to write it in 25 minutes, but I'm going to do it uninterrupted for 25 minutes. And then I'm going to take a 5-minute break. And then I'm going to come back to it. And I'm going to keep doing that until the newsletter is done. And then I go back again, like, okay, great, I've written it. Now I can spend 25 minutes on the photos. Now I can spend 25 minutes on putting it together. Now I can spend 25 minutes getting it set up and going out. So these are the things that you want to do to help yourself. Entrepreneurs, we're in it on our own. We decided this is the life that we wanted, so this is what we're going to do. But there's many ways for you to help yourself. Having a timer as you're working on trying to get stuff done is absolutely going to help. Another thing that's going to help, and especially once we're outside of the situation we're in, is keeping that door closed. When I worked in an office, I used to have my door open constantly, and I had to literally close the door and put a sign on it that literally was like, no, don't even knock, don't even do anything. I need to take this time. What I do now, since I'm a solopreneur, is I get out my, my calendar. It's over there. I get out my calendar and I get a highlight, and I just highlight in the week. Actually, I am going to show that to you because I just did it. So what I do is I block out times on my calendar that I am not going to take any meetings. I am not going to take any phone calls. And those highlights in the calendar are telling me, take care of yourself. Take that time to work and get some of the work done. Because I can be in meetings all day. I can talk to clients all day, but then I'm not going to be able to work on my business. So also make sure you have a daily planner. Again, something that you can write in, something that's not only electric. I know it's a generational thing, but having something that you're actually writing in and seeing your whole week laid out, you're able to better manage your time. I'm going to just barely go over this. This is going to be a form that I'm going to send you that's going to be part of what you're going to get. And it's just a weekly planner. Of course, you're going to be able to have your own planner, but this kind of gives you an idea of what you need to be focusing on, especially in the right section, which is my annual quarterly goals. You want to have that goal front and center at all times so you know what you're striving for. So moving on, proactive client success. You don't find customers for your products, you find products for your customers. There are so many businesses, there are so many entrepreneurs that wake up and have this great idea. Oh my gosh, I have this absolutely great idea. I have this absolutely great product. I think it's the best thing. Everybody's gonna love it. Let me build it, let me create it. Now I have to find somebody to sell it to. You're not gonna find anybody to sell it to. Because what an entrepreneur needs to do is realize that they need to solve a problem that is already existing. It's not waking up and finding a product that nobody has made before that you're hoping people are going to want. It's going to be waking up and saying, I've experienced this problem, I need to create a solution. I'm going to give an example for myself from something years ago. So many of you know that I used to live in Hawaii. And when I was visiting Hawaii, my husband and I, we were coming in from New York, long 10-hour flight. And we would get in about 8 o'clock at night, drop the bags, go food shopping, come back. And, you know, that was it. We were tired, we were exhausted, but that was okay. So one time though, we flew in and there was a tropical storm. So our plane arrived about 4 hours late. We got in at about 11 o'clock at night and we were drenched and we were cold because the airport that we fly into does not have, you know, you're flying in, you're landing on the tarmac and you're walking in. So now we're just completely drenched, 11 o'clock at night. There's no food in the house because we still have to go food shopping and the stores are closing by midnight. So we rush, we do all this. And I just remember having the thought and I'm like, well, thank God we knew where the store was to go food shopping because it wasn't on the main strip. And thank God that it closed at midnight. And thank God I knew that it closed at midnight. And I thought about, well, what about the people who don't know that? And what about the people who are flying in and just don't want to jump off a plane and get in a car with kids that are hungry and go driving and looking for a store? So I started a business that was a grocery shopping and delivery service specifically for people who were condo vacationers so that when they arrived, the food was already in the refrigerator. I had a way for them to get in touch with me. They sent me the grocery list, paid. It was a whole thing. I'm not going to go into the specifics of that, but I assessed that there was a problem. And there was a problem because I had my business running for a number of years until just about the time I moved back to New York. So you want to see that there's a problem that you're solving. And the way to think about it is clients come to me needing help with problem, and I provide the solution. Look for the problem that you're solving. This is where client success is going to happen. It might be more than one problem. Another example could be, I'm a financial planner and I have a couple that's coming to me and they say, oh, well, we want to start a 529 plan for our child. The problem isn't that they don't know how to start a 529 plan. The problem is they want to start a plan that's going to take care of their child's education, that is simple for the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and everybody to donate to, and something that they don't have to worry about in 18 years. That's the problem. The problem that the financial planner is solving is the fear and anxiety that we won't have enough money to send our child to college in 18 years, so we need to do something now. So the 529 plan, which is basically the feature, and you go into the features and benefits of every issue, but the benefit is that they're not going to have to worry about this because the financial planner is solving the problem. And again, I can do problem solution all day long. I might actually do a Facebook Live just so I can, not today, to help you kind of find the problem solution dynamic in your business. Again, McDonald's, you know, problem solution. Problem, you know, the kids are hungry and the parents are home late and they only have a certain amount of money in their pocket. Solution, let's go to McDonald's. The kids are happy, everybody's fed, go to bed, and it's done. So look in your business and try to figure out the problem solution dynamic. The easiest thing to do, number one, write down 3 problems and 3 solutions that you provide. And remember, you're coming from the client's emotional place. You're coming from the client that is coming to you. If you want to imagine like the old movies where they're coming to like, oh my God, I'm having all of these problems and I don't know what to do. Whatever you have to do to really get to the root. Yeah, I'm not an actress. I know you can see that. Whatever you have to do to get to the root of the problem that you're solving. And if you can't figure out the problem solution dynamic, let me know and I can definitely have a conversation with you. But that's what's going to create client success, because that's where the relationship is going to happen. Because if you're solving the problem for your client, they're just going to keep coming back to you again and again and again. So write down the 3 problem solutions that you provide. And I mentioned features and benefits before. It's problem solutions, features, benefits. Features are the unemotional part of what you're offering. If you use a car, the feature is it's got 4 wheels, it's got headlights, it's got a roof, it's got an engine. That's features. That's a feature on every card. The benefit is going to be it can go from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. The benefit is it has a satellite radio, which means I can listen to any station around the world. These are the things that you should be looking at in your business. The problem solution, the features, the benefits. The benefits and the solutions are the emotional core of how you're going to connect with your client. It is the emotion. I cannot hammer that enough. It is the emotional portion that you want to relate to. Also, practice your problem solution dynamic statement. Think about it as, you know, you've heard about the 10-second or 30-second elevator pitch. Practice it with your friend. Again, practice it with other aliens that are out there, because they're going to also know what you should be saying, and they'll catch what you're not saying to say, oh, you know what? That didn't touch me emotionally. I really want you to dig deeper, and you can work with each other and support each other in finding that emotional core. I just wrote down my own statement. I'm not going to read it. I'd actually rather get to some other things that are going to help you more. CRM, customer relationship management software. A CRM, now I know many of you either have something that you've been handwriting your client information and you're just kind of flipping back and forth like a notebook. Many people also have an Excel chart. As long as you have something, I'm happy. That's beautiful. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about a CRM, because a CRM, and there are dozens of CRMs out there. You can just type in CRM and you're going to get, I can't even tell you how many, because I've tried a number of them myself, because they're all very different. Some have different features. Some are really expensive. Some are $10. But the benefit of using a CRM is because you have all of your client information in one place and it's sortable. For example, I'm just going to use myself. My name is Alexandra Mitchell. I live in New York, and let's say I love CrossFit and I belong to a CrossFit box. So my CrossFit manager is going to have all of my information, that my name, how long I've been a client, how many packages that I've bought over the years, maybe even, oh, she's got sore knees, so I make sure to watch her knees. And she's bought some of my Christmas gift certificates. So I just listed 5 things that my CrossFit Box manager can relate to me on. And again, we're talking about relating versus transactional. It's not just that, oh, Alex, it's time for you to renew. It's like, hey, you know what? I saw you came 5 times in a month and you're really, crushing it. But you know what? I have this new package that if you come 6 times in a month, that it's going to, I could go on and on. What you want to do is make sure you're having all and every bit of information about your client handy. An Excel chart is good, but it's very linear and you can't put all of the specifics in. The date that you started working with them, the name of the package, and most importantly, how much they might have spent with you over a lifetime. Because then going back to have, when you've set up your goals, you'll be able to see that, okay, out of my 1 year, I have 15 clients that are on XYZ package, and that's been producing this amount of money for me in my business that is going towards this goal. You want to have a CRM because it's going to make things easier. You're going to be able to see the lifetime of your client. You're going to be able to see how many packages they bought over a lifetime, if you were able to upsell them. All the information is going to be in one handy place. An Excel chart is actually a little bit cumbersome for that. So I listed a couple, Pipedrive, Less Annoying CRM, Insightly, Infusionsoft. I can tell you, for example, Infusionsoft could be $200 a month, whereas Less Annoying CRM is $10 a month. It's going to be up to you, but my recommendation is that you, as an entrepreneur, you want a CRM. There are many times as entrepreneurs that we are having limited beliefs and a limited mindset about, oh, I want to save money. I don't want to spend $10 a month. I'd rather save that $10 a month. But if that $10 a month is going to be able to help you see the pipeline of the number of people in your business, of where the money's coming from, how much you're going to expect next month, how much you can expect next quarter and next year, spend the $10. An entrepreneur has to invest in themselves. They have to invest in their business. Keeping I'm going to hold on to $10 here, I'm going to hold on to $20 here, that's not going to be a solution that's going to help you with growth. Growth is all about having an abundant mindset. It's all about having a mindset that is saying, I am welcoming abundance, and I know that I need to invest in myself because I'm not worried that I'm not going to make the money back. I know I'm going to make the money back. Again, it is literally a switch in your brain that's going to make the difference in how you are proactive in your business and how much of a success your business is going to be. If you're coming to your business like this and trying to hold on to every penny, and you've seen businesses like that, you've seen that they've done okay, but they haven't done as good as they could have done. You want to come to an abundant mindset because you want to know I know what I'm doing. I know I'm really great at what I do. So I'm not worried about the $10 today because it's going to make me $1,000 in 2 weeks. Again, think about the mindset that you're working on. Think about ways of keeping a positive and optimistic mindset. I was just reading an article in the New York Times, I think it came out on Sunday or Saturday, about being optimistic at any time, regardless of whatever's happening in the world. And part of having an optimistic mindset, it's not that you're just going, oh, the bluebirds of happiness are here and everything's going great. It's really acknowledging, yeah, you know what? Things really aren't great right now, but I have hope. And hope is the biggest part of optimism. Hope is the part of your business that is proactive. Hope is the part of your business that's going to make you get up tomorrow and go, okay, yeah, yesterday wasn't that great. I'm going to make the changes that I need to make. When I was talking to some clients recently, and I have to just sometimes remind them, you know, there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of fear any time of year. And the fear is, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like. I knew what the future looked like before. I don't know. And I'm like, you know what? We never know what the future is going to look like, ever. We have never known, but we planned anyway. So there's no difference between yesterday, 6 months ago, last year. We did not know what the future looked like, but we planned anyway. Now is no different. We keep planning. That's what entrepreneurs do. So I just wanted to just have you think about that, and just make sure that you understand the role in terms of your mindset is going to just make the difference in your business. It's going to make everything that I'm talking about make sense. It's going to make you go, all right, I'll check out a CRM. I'll see what she's talking about. Okay, I'll write down the problem solution dynamic. I'll give it a shot. I'll see. That's just going to be a mindset shift. So I would love for you to try it, and I would love for you to just reach out to me and let me know, you know, your results. So moving on. Also, in terms of reaching out to your client, make sure that you have a newsletter. As I mentioned, there are people who are just doing a quarterly newsletter. That's just not enough. You need to keep in touch with your clients. Find a newsletter solution. There's Constant Contact, there's Aweber, there's MailChimp, there's so many. Some are free, some are at different levels. But if you as an entrepreneur don't think that you have something to say, you really need to think again. You got into a business because you believed you had something that you wanted to provide to your community, to the world, to a customer. So you are that expert. As that expert, it's your responsibility to let the client or the customer know whatever it is that you might be talking about. If you're a shoe salesman, you want to let them know, hey, the fall shoes are coming in and the heels are a little bit higher. And if it's men's shoes, you can say, hey, tassels are out this year. There's anything that you can do that's going to keep your customer engaged in who you are and what you're doing as an expert. And I'm not saying that you're using the newsletter to sell to them all the time. Again, it's about relationship. You have a relationship with your client. You want to keep them informed. You want to make sure that they're in the know, and you want to let them know that you care about them. On to proactive profits. So I always loved the show The Profit when it came on. I'm a little bit tired of it now, but this is the perfect quote. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. The thing about your numbers is, and it's what I was talking about before when I said that I have my Money Monday or my Money Tuesday, I get up and I see where I am in my business. What is my goal? Where am I to my goal? Again, regardless of what's happening out in the world, I still have a goal that I really want to make. And that makes me get up and get proactive in terms of, all right, who have I spoken to about my business? Who have I met with? Who have I followed up with? Years ago, I had a client, and he was working on his business. He would send out proposals. He's working and sending out proposals, working and sending out proposals. And when he hired me, he said, well, you know what? I'm trying to figure out a system. What kind of system can I use to make sure that I'm doing some follow-up? So he was very resistant to a CRM. I was like, okay, great. Let's just do an Excel. So once he put together an Excel chart and looked at the number of proposals that he had out and how much money was in each of those proposals, he had more than $500,000 in business that was floating out there that could have been in his business that he wasn't following up because he wasn't really looking at his money. He wasn't waking up once a week. And I'm not saying once a month. I'm saying your day is once a week to wake up and say, where am I in my business? So once we set up that system with him, he was able to go, okay, I wanted to make $2 million this year. And I've been saying, well, I'm not making enough. Well, now I see why, because I have $500,000 that's floating out there. So then we made a plan for him to get on the phone, to follow up, to visit the people and everything else. But This story is more about, you need to understand that you have money that's floating out there that you can and should be trying to bring into your business. So a few months ago, I did a video talking about the 3 places money is hiding in your business. And that's one of them, not following up on outstanding proposals. Every time you have an ask, every time you have a conversation about your business and you're talking to somebody about your packages, that's money that's out there that you could be bringing into your business. These are proactive profits. These are ways that you're going to keep track of making sure you're making your goal, because you're tracking how many conversations you're having and how much money is in each of them. And you're going to bring that money into your business. So knowing how much is out there in terms of proposals, knowing how much money is out there in terms of conversations that you've had with potential clients, those are the things that are going to make you get up in the morning, pick up the phone, send an email, set up a Zoominar, and talk to somebody and say, hey, you know what? You and I spoke about XYZ a little while ago. I wanted to follow up. Because that's the only way money's going to come in your business. There are so many businesses that, especially the brick and mortar, or even I worked in many companies years ago. I worked at a cosmetic company, and it wasn't Chanel. And they had started this new product line, which was fabulous. It was a product line for women of color. It was very high end. It was in Macy's and Nordstrom's. But what they did was they spent a lot of time on product development, and they just kind of said, all right, they're going to find us. And I'm like, well, aren't you doing, and I was hired to do PR at the time. I'm like, well, are you doing any advertising? Are you advertising in Essence? Are you advertising in, some of the other magazines? No, they'll find us. I'm like, no, they won't. You're doing well, if I built it, they will come routine. It's like, no, you have to go get people. You have to go get the business. You have to go get the revenue. You have to go get the profits. It's not just going to come through your door. And I know it is sometimes not fun being an entrepreneur. We love the benefits. We love being able to, hey, I'm going to take a vacation when I want. I don't have to only be prescribed to 2 weeks vacation a year. I can kind of do what I want. But the flip side of that is I have to really, really, really work hard to get the money in. I have to stay on top of it. It's my job. It's my business. So for entrepreneurs, we have to stay focused at all times on the money that is floating outside of the business. We also have to look at our pricing. There are so many times that we are so afraid of raising our prices, even now. And we should never be afraid of raising our prices if we're providing the right service. There's so many businesses that might have been providing a service to a client for, let's say, 5 years. Their costs, your costs have gone up. Your cost might have gone up 100%, whether it's for, if you were selling something in a plastic bag and you had wrapping, the paper goods items have gone up, the pricing has gone up. So you have to raise your pricing, but we get afraid. Well, I don't want to lose my client. Well, if you lose a client because you raise the prices a little bit, then they're really not your clients 1,000% to begin with. I'm going to give you an example of when I lived in Hawaii. I used to go to CrossFit box, as I mentioned, and suddenly all of these gyms started popping open and a Planet Fitness opened up. And Planet Fitness is, zero money down, zero for the next 10 years. And slowly the CrossFit box started losing people. So if you know anything about CrossFit, you're working with weights, you have trainers, you have machines, you have classes. And Planet Fitness actually just has weights and bikes and just machines. So when I was talking to the owner, he was saying, I'm losing so much business to Planet Fitness. And I was like, well, you know what? Those people really weren't your clients anyway. Because if they were able to leave that quickly because they were going to go someplace where there were no classes, they didn't have any trainers, and they weren't doing the same exact thing, those weren't his clients. So then it meant that it was incumbent upon him to find the right clients for his business. And he's had clients for years. So the few sprinkle of people who leave, those aren't really your clients. So it's about making sure that your business is attracting the right client for your business. And it means that, again, you have to work really hard to make sure that you're finding the right person. So if you're raising prices and if some people leave, it might be okay, because they might flutter away and they still might come back because they realize, for CrossFit, that they wanted the classes and they wanted the attention. But don't spend a lot of time worrying about the clients that you're going to lose if you raise your prices. Think about the clients you're going to gain. Think about the people who maybe you raised your prices so much that maybe you're now being seen as being in a different bracket. Maybe you've raised it to the point of you're going to lose this level of clientele, but now you're up at this level of clientele. And by that, I mean it's the right level of people for the service that you're providing. I'm going to give another weird example. So there's a plumber who is working hard in his business, and he's fixing toilets, and he's fixing toilets, and he's fixing sinks. And, I'm talking to him, and he's like, well, you know what? I really don't want to do toilets. I do it because it brings money in. And I'm like, well, what is it that you really want to do? Well, I'd rather do new builds. I'd rather be installing the toilets and the sinks and the systems in the new houses and the remodels, because it makes more money. So I was like, all right, well then stop doing the toilets. Yeah, but that brings in easy money. But yeah, but that's not the money you want. So focusing on the money that you want and not worrying about, well, if I raise the prices, I'm going to lose people. Look at the money that you want to make. Look at the clientele that is going to afford you that money. That is what you should be focusing on. And again, it's scarcity versus abundance. Always be in abundance. Always think about the clients that you want to serve, not just the clients that are coming to you. So I'm also going to talk about untapped revenue streams, and I'm going to give you an example. So an untapped revenue stream is something that I love finding in businesses, because it means it's something that's already existing, and it's something that you don't have to do too much extra work to make happen. So years ago, I was working with one of my clients, and I said they had a boat. So it was a dive company, and they would take people out, they would go diving, they would do snorkeling, and they would come back in, usually kind of late at night. The guests would get back on the boat, go home, all great. But to me, there was a missed opportunity for that 45-minute ride back to shore. The guests are really happy, they saw some fish, they saw some manta rays, it was really, really great. How can we capitalize on that enjoyment? How can we capitalize on that emotion that the client has? So it's like, well, let's try to sell some items on the boat, because they get back so late, the store is already closed, and they're just going to go home. Are there t-shirts we can have on the boat? Are there little tchotchkes that won't take up a lot of room on the boat, but it's going to at least create some revenue? So that's a great example of nothing had to be added. You didn't need to add a salesperson on the boat. It was something that was already there. It was just some training for some of the staff members and a little corner to stock some items. But it's another way of finding money that's just kind of sitting in your business. So for you, think about the untapped revenue streams that might already be in your business. It could be a combination of packages. It could be an item that people have kept saying, hey, do you sell this? Hey, do you sell this? And you go like, you know what? Maybe I'll start selling it, because it's easy enough for you to do that. Think about your pricing. Is it okay if you raise your pricing? The other thing I want to talk about pricing is, do not raise and lower your pricing because somebody says they're unable to afford it. I know so many business owners who are like, I'm not making any money. And I'm like, well, let's look at what you're doing. Well, how come client A is paying $50, but client B is paying $75 and client C is paying $35? Well, they mentioned that they really weren't certain if they could afford it or not. And I know this is, I mean, trust me, business is not an always beautiful, nice thing. But if you have a client who cannot afford your services, they are not your client. And the best thing you can do is recommend them to somebody else who is who would be their vendor. But that doesn't mean that you should try to keep all the business. Scarcity versus abundance. Serve your clients. You can't serve everybody. Because if you keep lowering and raising your pricing, you're going to affect your brand. You're going to affect what people are thinking about you in terms of your business. And they're going to start hearing, well, hey, if I complain, they'll lower the price. I'm going to get what I want. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're entrepreneurs. We're fulfilling our dreams, but we're also feeding our families, and we're also feeding our staff's families and the vendors and everybody who supports us. So you do no good by raising and lowering your prices so haphazardly. So please be careful about doing that. Another thing I want to talk about is changing your competitors into collaborators. So I alluded to this earlier, where I don't believe in competitors. I really don't. One of my good friends is a business coach, and she's really successful, but she does things different than I do. So what we found was, A, sometimes we would partner together on a client, or B, she would do the intake and talk to have the conversation and go, you know what? I'm really not the person for you. You really should speak with Alex. And then I've done the same thing. I'm like, you know what? I would love to work with you, but I don't think I'm the right person. You really should speak with this other person. Think about people in your sphere. Think about people who you've heard about that would be a great collaborator for you. Or even just start doing some calls about people that you know in your industry who you maybe want to learn a little bit more about. Because A, it'll be great to have a referral source. If that person is really great at what they do, that also means that they're super, super busy. You want to be that person that they call and say, hey, John, I really would love to work with this guy, but I'm just way too busy. Do you mind if I send him your way? Absolutely. Yes. Send me that person. I appreciate that. And you also want to be able to do that the other way. When I lived in Hawaii, I used to work at a hotel when I first moved there, and they would have what they called aloha clients. And the aloha client, which sounds lovely because aloha means, you know, hello and goodbye. And, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful word in the meaning. But at the hotel I worked in, aloha meant that they were super difficult. It was an aloha client. So it was kind of like a teasing word that says like, oh, is he good? Yeah, he's an aloha client. So you knew like this person was just going to be a headache and you had to treat them a different way. So when you get your own aloha client that you really don't want to be busy with and working with, you want to have somebody that you can say, hey, you know, Steve, I really appreciate if you take on my aloha client. It's nice to have that referral source. So write down the name of 5 businesses or people that you want to collaborate with. And think about what you like or admire about them, because, you know, it is going to be somebody you're associating you and your brand with. So you want to be very careful about that. But think about somebody you respect, somebody you've heard of that you really want to get to know better. And then make a call. Hey, set up a Zoom meeting, set up a phone call. When the world goes back to normal, go and have lunch with them, but start widening your network. These are some proactive measures that's going to help you get more business. Start widening your network. Do not do this. Do not stay in fear. Do not stay in scarcity. It's not that, oh, I don't want him to take my client. It's, hey, we could share clients together. He can send me clients, she can send me clients, we can share clients, we could even maybe collaborate and work together on the problem that the client is having, and we can solve them together. And I also want to put the notion of, think about some atypical collaborations that might work for you, because you want to be able to share your message with that many more people. So if I think of an atypical collaboration, might be a CrossFit box and a yoga studio. They're pretty much night and day in how they work, but somebody who goes to CrossFit might want to go to yoga because they want to stretch out. Somebody who goes to yoga might go to CrossFit because they really, really want to build up muscle. So think about what are some atypical collaborations that you can make that's going to put you in front of a new audience. And that way you can share your list, you can share information in a newsletter, but you want to just think, I keep saying proactive, but I really want to get that across, that it's going to be ideas that are going to come from you. It's going to be action that is going to come from you. It's going to be activities that is going to come from you, the entrepreneur. And know that there is really no mistake an entrepreneur can make, A, that hasn't been made and people survived, and B, that is crazy enough that, like, oh, wow, you know what? I'm having an idea that I want to partner with XYZ. You know what? I'm going to give XYZ a call and let's just see what happens. It's never too crazy to think of doing anything like that, because you want to stay on your toes. You want to be out there. You want to be different. You're the alien and you want to be noticed. And you have to sometimes think of crazy ways of making things happen. So as you're doing all of these things and you find yourself that you're getting busy, I want to talk about, just briefly, how can you scale up your business? So I'm a solopreneur. I have a virtual assistant. Years ago, I was like, what do I need a virtual assistant for? I'm home. I can figure out my schedule. I can figure out my day. And then I realized, like, well, I can either spend money, you know, putting information into my CRM, or I can go get a new client. I could either spend money, and this is even a different example, I can either spend the time on the weekend cleaning my house, doing the refrigerator, doing this, doing laundry, doing all of these things, or I can get a new client and pay for that. So my husband and I can just sit and relax and do whatever we want to do. Or I can go to the movies and I can let my brain rest. So again, that's another scarcity versus abundance thing. You can either look and say, oh, it's easier for me to clean my house and I'm saving money, or you can go, my time is super valuable. I am super valuable. I'd rather be much more proactive, get a new client, get 2 new clients, so I can have somebody else do that for me, so that I can relax and reset and refocus. So think about ways for you to delegate, for you to, you know, there's a website called Upworks where you can get a virtual assistant. There's hundreds, if not thousands, on there, and you can find the right person to do whatever you need. They are all at different price ranges. But it's always good, as you are in your business for a long time, to start delegating and start letting things go, so that you can start rising up higher. Think of it as you're a balloon and you're holding on to a whole bunch of concrete blocks. You let go of one, you're able to rise up a little bit higher. You let go of another block, you're rising higher. The more blocks that you're letting go, the higher you can rise. The ways you can scale up, there's also ways that you're going to have much more time in your life for your family and for yourself. So I want to tell you about a webinar that I'm planning to do starting on June 2nd. So if you go to proactivejumpstart.com, that is a new series that I'm going to do. It's going to be every Tuesday and Friday. And if you go to the website, you'll see all the dates. And it's pretty much what I talked about very quickly here, but it's going to be more expanded. So for each day, so like Tuesday, June 2nd, it's going to be all about mindset. The following Friday, it's going to be all about sales skills, and so on and so on. What I wanted to do today was give you information that you can take with you, as I said, and start today. But I know that I had to rush through a lot of things, and I know that there is so much more information I can talk about. In terms of planning, I can talk about, you know, actual ways for you to sit down and look at your revenue and plan your sales goals for the following year. In terms of sales skills, I can talk much more about sales conversations, how to overcome objections, how to talk to somebody and up-level something that you didn't even think the client might have wanted. We can talk about a SWOT analysis. We can talk about so many more things, because I'm going to be able to spend an entire hour or 75 minutes talking about each one of those items. So if you go to proactivejumpstart.com, you'll see all the information, including the dates that it starts. The price is usually it's $497 for the series. I'm charging only $197 as an investment for everybody who's on this call. So please go to proactivejumpstart.com and check it out. If you have any questions about anything from today, feel free to absolutely email me at support@alexmitchellconsulting.com. It's at the bottom of the screen, support@alexmitchellconsulting.com. Please let me know what you thought about this webinar. Please let me know if you have a question, especially about the problem solution dynamic, but about anything, about mindset. As I said, I started this whole webinar about mindset because, as you see, it informs everything that you do. But I also wanted to end with profits, because everything that we talked about above is all leading to the profits in your business. And that is why we aliens exist, because we want to generate more revenue, increase our profits so we can live the life that we want. So I thank everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Please reach out to me. Please keep in touch with me. If you want to be on my newsletter list, also send me an email. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be sending you pages from this presentation, so you will have my email. But I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're safe and well, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.